Hi everyone, I'm CBS19 Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony here on this Wednesday night. It's about 8:34 in East Texas, and we're going to start with our eye on the tropics as we continue to watch a cluster of showers and thunderstorms currently out in the eastern Atlantic, just off the west coast, off the Cape Verde Islands. And this disturbance is expected to become a named storm, perhaps Tropical Storm Gabrielle, in the next 7 days. Right now it has an 80% chance for development, and the farther west it moves, eventually it could be moving closer and closer to the Windward Islands in San Juan, Puerto Rico, but that's still several days away. There are a few things that would suggest that it has a chance of strengthening, and one would be that area of water there where you could see the water temperatures were quite warm. In fact, I'm going to back this up here so we can see. It didn't set up for me in time, but I'll back it up. And I want to show you essentially what we're talking about here. In fact, I might go back to the graphic beforehand and just kind of start that over. So we're looking at that area of thunderstorms over in the eastern Atlantic, 80% chance of becoming a named storm. The thing that we're going to watch here with this storm is this area where the water depth, or the 80-degree plus water, is very deep out there in the central Atlantic. So this could follow that path and eventually turn toward the Windward Islands and eventually maybe over toward Puerto Rico or get closer to that, but that's still about 5 to 7 days away. Water's really warm in the Gulf and just off of the Yucatan Peninsula. Still, maybe something would form here within the next, say, 5 to 7 days. Right now, though, the National Hurricane Center doesn't have any areas there outlooked. All right, let's talk about future temperatures here in East Texas. Mid to upper 60s tonight and tomorrow morning, and then through the afternoon it heats up. This might be a little overdone at 97, but I got to tell you, we're probably going to be every bit of 95 tomorrow in Longview, 97 at Nacogdoches and Center and San Augustine. Within reach, I think it's within reason. Crockett and Palestine also within reason with temperatures in the upper 90s. Friday morning, we'll see temperatures in the mid 70s as the humidity returns, and that cranks up. And then Friday afternoon, maybe not as hot thanks to more cloud cover, but still pretty warm and humid with temperatures in the low to mid 90s across most of East Texas. All right, 10-day temperature trend here. So mid 90s, above average Thursday, Friday. And then a front pushes into the area Saturday, so it's cooler. That front is stalled over the area with clouds and rain Sunday in the upper 70s. Monday, the clouds clear out, but we're still in the lower 80s with a northeast wind. And then eventually our winds turn back to the east, southeast, and then southwest as highs rise back to around 90 degrees by the middle part of the month. And the middle part of September right now setting up to be pretty warm. How much warmer has it been recently when we talk about September, October, and November? Well, some data from Climate Central. They're a think tank of climate scientists and journalists and others who are tracking the warming of our atmosphere. If you go back 50 years and you take that up till now, Tyler is one of the fastest warming areas in the country, one of the top 5. So our temperatures now are running about 6 degrees above where they used to be back in 1970. So our average temperature back then was around 64. That takes into account all the nighttime highs and daytime lows. And now you're talking about average temperature for autumn pushing 70 degrees, so about 6 degrees warmer. And anywhere across the country, there is not a county here in the United States where we have not seen warming in that same time frame, September, October, and November. Fall warming due to greenhouse gases. Of course, you're talking about human influences on that cannot be denied, especially when you look at the numbers like this. 27 more days where we find our temperatures above average when we take the nighttime lows and the daytime highs. Now, a lot of that is owed due in part to our overnight lows being warmer than what they used to be. But our daytime highs are also warmer than what they used to be, and that's evidenced here in the next couple of days with highs in the mid 90s. All right, let's switch gears and talk about Hurricane Lorena, because Hurricane Lorena and its associated moisture and its associated circulation will move across Texas late this week and into the weekend, and it'll interact with the stalled frontal boundary, and so that's going to keep temperatures back below average. So remember, you can't confuse climate and weather. Weather is what's happening right now. Climate's what happens over a long term. You could look at it this way, weather would be your mood, climate is your personality. So it's one way to look at it. This is Lorena right here, moving across the Baja and into western Mexico by likely Friday into Saturday. It becomes a subtropical low, then a remnant low as it moves into southeastern Arizona and southwestern New Mexico, and then that moisture and its associated circulation drifts across Texas, eventually arriving in East Texas Saturday with a 50% chance of rain. Sunday, 50% chance of rain, maybe a couple pockets of heavier rain and thunderstorms with those areas in yellow. All right, here's future skycast. I'm going to start this Friday at 4 o'clock. Temperatures again are in the low to mid 90s. Maybe an isolated shower close to Interstate 30. That is it. Rest of Friday night for high school football looks fantastic. Then we get into Saturday and we start to see some showers forming, especially closer to Interstate 20 coming out of Dallas all the way over towards Shreveport. There are repeated showers that work their way through into the early afternoon hours, and then there appears to be a break. And then we'll see more of that moisture associated with Lorena arrive here maybe Saturday night and Sunday. Sunday I still think is the rainier of the 2 days. Rainfall chances Saturday sit there at about 30 to 40%, even though right now I have a 50% chance of rain. Just based on those, seeing what Future Skycast has, it would suggest that that area of rain moves right through Tyler and Longview. So we'll go with a 50% chance of rain just to raise that rain chance up to get people's attention. Sunday, you're looking at least a 50 to 60% chance of rain across all of East Texas. But what are we talking about when it comes to storm strength? When that storm comes ashore, Lorena moves out across Texas, and then notice how it stretches out and weakens. So this is important when it comes to the amounts of rain that we're going to see, especially when you look at the heavier amounts, West Texas to about Dallas, you get through North Texas, Central Texas, and then you get into East Texas, and the rainfall totals begin to drop off, and that is because we are talking about the storm system also weakening, that circulation also weakening. So these dark blue areas would suggest a ½ inch of rainfall. We go a little farther west, western Smith County, 3/4 of an inch. Brighter blue areas, you're talking about 1¼ to 1.5 inches. And as the storm weakens and as the showers weaken over parts of deep East Texas, there is a chance to see about 1/10 of an inch to maybe 1/4 of an inch from Hemphill up towards Center, Carthage back toward Henderson, 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch, Palestine as much as 3/4 of an inch, up toward Texarkana and the Arklatex, perhaps a 1/4 of an inch to about 3/4 of an inch of rainfall. So just to wrap that up, heavier rainfall the farther west you go. Rainfall amounts are lightening at the farther east you come. But still rain and still a fairly high chance of rain. All right, so then we get rid of the rain over the weekend. We gradually start building the temperature, and we start to see a weather pattern that we have seen before. Remember, the weather pattern going all the way back to last October and November has been cycling about every 40 to 45 days. And so the weather pattern as it repeats would suggest that we have at least one more chance to see some warmer than average temperatures, and that indeed is coming back middle part of September before the pattern begins to shift back around. Once we get to the first day of astronomical fall, September 22nd, we will see the weather pattern start to set up and then begin to really set up its new weather pattern when we get into October. So we have one more chance to see the final cycle of this year's weather pattern, and that does feature that big dome of warm air that was here earlier this summer. It moves back in, and so I could easily see highs middle part of September. You're talking about 13th, 14th, 15th, maybe up to about the 20th, where the high temperatures are in the 90s. And it dries out. So at least to the start of that longer range period, the 10th through the 16th, below average rainfall is favored. When it comes to temperatures, we're going to look at above average temperatures also being favored in that same time frame. All right, warmth, rain, humidity. It adds up to this. Higher mold spore counts, and we have certainly seen those. We saw that yesterday, saw that again today with that count just under 7,000. So if you're sneezing and sniffling, that is why. All right, clear sky tonight, light and variable winds. Let's enjoy tonight. It is going to be very nice when you walk out the door Thursday morning. However, Thursday is going to heat up pretty quickly. We're already pushing 90 by noon and should make it to around 93 to 95 for the high temperature tomorrow. On the Baylor Scott & White Texas Spine Joint Hospital 10-day forecast, 94 again Friday, scattered showers Saturday, Sunday, scattered showers, weather impact alert Sunday because I think it's more widespread, or at least some of the rain might be a little heavier. Partly cloudy on Monday, 81, 83 Tuesday, upper 80s Wednesday, Thursday, back to the 90s next Friday, and likely staying there headed through that following weekend and into the middle part of the month. If this update helped you out, please let us know by liking, subscribing, or sharing on our YouTube channel. And also, if you had a comment, question, please post that below on the Facebook page. Of course, we will update the forecast. We'll have new data coming in here in about a half hour with regard to the rainfall chances over the weekend. So we hope to see you on CBS 19 News at 10 o'clock. Until then, have a great evening.
Who's this set up for?
Jimmy. Or as my sisters call him, Little Jimmy Boy. Harper's Table, restaurant and bar.
It's a great place in the greatest city in the world.
Let me guess, Flemington, New Jersey? Ah, got it.
One time I was doing sports, and I just discovered randomly that the pitcher I was talking about was born in Flemington.
You mentioned that in sports, right?
I'm sure.
I think you did.
I definitely did.
Because Dana was like, he gets every chance to talk about Flemington.
I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay, unless you want to get Brandon in here. Brandon.
What would you put as his Francisco's title? Like Longview Barber?
I just named him East Texas Barber.
East Texas Barber.
I mean, he's not, officially in East Texas anymore,
Yeah.
but that's what his title was, as an East Texas Barber. I'm sleepy. He's on his way. Tonight on CBS19 News at 10, an East Texas barber back home in Venezuela after being sent to an... Tonight on CBS19 News at 10, an East Texas barber is back home in Venezuela after being sent to an El Salvador prison for gang members. He says he shouldn't have been there in the first place, but grateful his mom never stopped fighting for his return hundreds of miles away.
I can honestly say I have the best mom in the world because she's the one who got me out of there.
Plus, it could be a long night for Texas lawmakers as they push... Not the wrong video. Tonight on CBS19 News at 10, an East Texas barber back home in Venezuela after being sent to an El Salvador prison for gang members, but he says he shouldn't have been there in the first place, but grateful his mom never stopped fighting for him to return hundreds of miles away.
I can honestly say I have the best mom in the world because she's the one who got me out of there.
Plus, it's going to be a long night for Texas lawmakers as they push to end the second special session. Among them, a bill that just passed and how it can change how your kids take the START test at school. And a former chair. Tonight on CBS19 News at 10, an East Texas barber back home in Venezuela after being sent to an El Salvador prison for gang members. He says he shouldn't have been there in the first place, but grateful his mom never stopped fighting for him hundreds of miles away.
I can honestly say I have the best mom in the world because she's the one who got me out of there.
Plus, it could be a long night for Texas lawmakers as they push to end the second special session. Among them, a bill that just passed and how it can change how your kids take the START test in school. And a former Cherokee County jailer accused of sneaking contraband to inmates, including one charged in a quadruple murder. Join us at 10 on CBS 19 News in... Tonight on CBS 19 News at 10, an East Texas barber is back home in Venezuela after being sent to an El Salvador prison for gang members. He says he shouldn't have been there in the first place, but grateful his mom never stopped fighting for his return hundreds of miles away.
I can honestly say I have the best mom in the world because she's the one who got me out of there.
Plus, it could be a long night for Texas lawmakers as they push to end the second special session. Among them, a bill that just passed that changes how your kids take the START test in school. And a former Cherokee County jailer is accused of sneaking contraband to inmates, including one charged in a quadruple murder. All that and more. Join us at 10 on CBS 19 and streaming for free on CBS 19 Plus.
Okay. All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1. And new data rolling into the Weather Center tonight with the, okay. All right, 3, 2, 1. The remnants of Hurricane Loreno move onshore this weekend. We've got new data tracking that moisture into East Texas. The updated timeline, how much rain we could see coming up in your 10-day forecast. Live from Tyler, CBS 19 News at 10 starts right now. Okay. All right. Okay. Hi, Texas. Get ready for a hot Thursday. We got a lot of sunshine, temperatures climbing in to the mid 90s. Humidity will be, let's say, manageable, but it could still feel like it's close to 100 degrees. Let's skip ahead then to Friday afternoon. We're tracking cloud cover, slightly cooler temperatures, and that'll lead to Saturday. We are watching the remnant moisture of a hurricane coming in from the Pacific Saturday, and you'll notice there are several showers, especially along and north of Interstate 20 into early Saturday afternoon, then drying out, and then Sunday additional showers will come in. So here's your Baylor Scott and White Texas Spine and Joint Hospital 10-day forecast. 95 Thursday, 94 on Friday, 83 Saturday thanks to more cloud cover and a north wind. Then we'll see several areas of showers on Sunday, a weather impact